everyone, and welcome back to RetroB8, and welcome to what I actually look like, because someone did mention the other day that there might be a good majority of you guys who subscribe to my channel who don't actually know what I look like. Now, before I started doing a lot of top 10s and things like that, this is how I used to do all my videos. What's changed? Well, now you may be able to hear some background sound effects. You'll be able to hear seagulls. You'll be able to hear people parking their cars. You'll be able to hear chickens and hens running around outside. Yes, we really do have hens in the back garden. So all of these things kind of like push me towards doing editing videos and, you know, going down that route. However, every now and again, I do like to do sort of a collection video. And as you've probably seen by the thumbnail, and if you can't tell by the t-shirt, these are going to be my PlayStation 1 game collections. So we're going to start off with 11 games today. The PlayStation 1 was a really nostalgic machine for me. It was the first console that I personally really ever owned. I did flitter a little bit with the Sega Master System, but apart from that, I was a Commodore 64 kid. I moved on to the Amiga. I strung that thing along as far as it could go, playing Championship Manager, Championship Manager 2, which ran incredibly slow on the Amiga, but I put up with it, and I saved me money for the PlayStation 1. When I got it, I was absolutely, as you can imagine, blown away. So I'm just going to go through 11 games today with you guys. I think all of these games I either played or had back in the 90s, early 2000s, and I'm lucky enough to own them all again now. I'm going to start off with one of my favourite multiplayer games. You can have up to 4 players, I think, if I remember rightly, and at the time I was in the army, so there's no shortage of people to say, here, let's have a blast on this game. The game is Track and Field 2. Now, I used to absolutely adore this game. The first one I thought was truly amazing. The second one, it just kind of knocked it up a little bit graphically. It was definitely a little bit smoother. The events, there was a few new ones, but a lot of the original events were there as well. So as you can see, yeah, lovely game. Spent a lot of my youth playing that game. Another game that I spent a huge amount of time on, and I remember putting this game on for the first time, and you know, certain sports games, like the way like the TV broadcasting sets it out, you know, well, for me this was almost like watching this sport on TV, and it was Formula 1. The Formula 1, the way the timing, the way the qualifying was, everything. Can you hear the seagulls? Hi, seagulls! Yeah, everything on this game. The presentation was just, it was just second to none. It really was awesome. And these graphics back in the day, when you come from an Amiga and a Commodore 64, this game seriously just blew me away. It was fast. It had audio commentary. The late Murray Walker, of course, was commentating on there. The real voice of Formula 1. Sorely missed that man. Yeah. But yeah, what more can I say about Formula 1? It was just an absolute class game, and it was Psygnosis, of course, who'd moved on from the 8 and 16-bit and had moved into the 32-bit generation with the PlayStation 1. Next is Oddworld. What a class game this was. Now, I was lucky enough to play this before its actual release, because my friend, he was working for the Times newspaper, and obviously they used to get sent games, like demo discs to play, and he managed to get hold of Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, and oh, this was just mind-blowing to me. It really was. The graphics were amazing. The fact that he could like jump into another like alien's body and then make him like shoot everyone, destroy everything, and then blow himself up at the end. Yeah, it was really good. It was quite a gory game as well. But yeah, when you found out that, I think Abe and his compatriots were basically dog food or something like that. Yeah, to feed the masses. But yeah, seriously, if you love a platform game, then you're going to enjoy Abe's Odyssey. Oddworld, because this is an absolute class game. Really was. Yeah, brilliant game this, guys. And then we're going to move on to a game that I used to play a lot on the Amiga. I did used to like kind of like Civilization, SimCity, you know, games of that genre. But then when these guys came along, they kind of put a little bit more humour. Yeah, definitely a little bit more humour into the game. This is a Bullfrog game. I wonder if you can guess it by now. Now, there is a couple of Bullfrog games on the PlayStation. There is one that I want to get. It's kind of like the sister game to this one. The one I've got is Theme Park. And of course, the one that I want is Theme Hospital. Yeah, I definitely want to add Theme Hospital to the collection. But yeah, it looks pretty much identical, I think, if I remember rightly, to the Amiga version. I think on the I think on the Amiga version as well, you could actually get on the roller coaster and ride around, etc. Luckily, I had a 1200, so that I think might have been able to handle it a bit better. But I'm pretty sure you could do that on the PlayStation 1 version, and it kind of looked a lot better indeed. Let me know in the comments whether that's actually true, or if I've just pulled that one from thin air. I don't know. I'm really not used to making these videos anymore. I'm not used to actually talking to the camera and having to use my brain to remember stuff about games, because normally I can just go on the computer and, you know, look away and then just talk or not talk. Probably not talk. But right, we're going to try and get away from that. Next is... excuse me. Next is an absolute cracker, and this one's like a 3D environment space shooter. I loved Wing Commander. You know, that for me was one of my favourite games. Loved it on the Amiga. I thought it was one of the best Amiga games. Wing Commander 3, I think it was. But for the PlayStation, this is the game that I kind of likened it to, and this is the game that I enjoyed. There's also another 2 of these games. There's 3 in total in the series, but I've only got 2. There is one that I'm after. It is, of course, Colony Wars, another Psygnosis game. These guys were really, really shit hot, like, back then. Knocking out real quality. And this wasn't a hard game to play either. But it was like a story, and obviously it got harder as it went on. But yeah, if I found this game not too bad to play, then you should be able to play that, because yeah, I'm not the best gamer in the world, and I'm not going to pretend to be. Yeah, lots of rage quits. That's my specialty. When it comes to racing games on the PS1, there was 2 or 3 that were my go-to games. This originally wasn't. Now, do apologise for when I show the game, because it should have been. But it wasn't until I played it a few years later and I thought, do you know what, that is actually a really decent game. And it is Colin McRae Rally. Another one gone. Rest in peace, Colin McRae. What used to get me about this game was that you didn't really feel like you were racing against the other cars, because you were like on like a time trial, and I just wasn't really into those type of games. Definitely enjoy it a lot more now. I think it's because I've just like kind of got over that. I don't really know where I was going with that back in the day, but for that reason, for me to not play Colin McRae is that's pretty criminal. It really is. But nowadays I can see that, you know, it really is a class game, and if you like racing games, then this really should be one that I think you should have in your collection. And yep, the Seagulls agree with me on that as well. Now, talking about games that should be in any collection, this is also... There's actually some amazing games in this, and we've got probably another 3 episodes to go. Now, that will be 3 because I'm not actively buying any PlayStation games. The last time I'd done this was with the Amiga games, and it just went on forever because I just kept buying more games. I'm not doing it this time, apart from Theme Hospital and apart from Colony Wars. But apart from them, this is a game that you should definitely have, and that's Doom. Now, I was lucky enough to meet John Romero when I was in Blackpool for the Blackpool Expo 2022. He's just exactly how you would imagine it to be. He's an extremely cool guy. I watched him play his own game against like 3 or 4 people who went up against him. Some of them were, you know, really good players, but they all got absolutely destroyed by John. If there's one thing he knows the maps he designed. He must have put some serious time into that. But yeah, not a bad little conversion here on the PlayStation. I enjoy it anyway. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who prefer that game on a different console. But obviously, having the PS1 back as a kid, that is the one that I ended up with. That's the one that I went for. And yeah, incredibly enjoyable. I do think that when I played it on the PS1, that was the first time I'd ever played that game. I wasn't into any sort of PC gaming or anything like that whatsoever. Moving on to sport. Yeah, I was actually into football quite a lot when I was younger. Obviously, not as much now, more into rugby, to be fair. I think that's probably because of the way that football's changed, or the way it's played now, and the way the players react. I just haven't got time for any of that drama. In fact, just drama in anything. Drama in YouTube, drama at home, drama in sport. I just can't be arsed with it. I've got 3 daughters. I've got enough drama there to last me a lifetime. I don't need any more. But back in the... I'm totally digressing here. But back in the day, when I did used to like a bit of drama in my sport, and I did used to enjoy football, I wasn't a FIFA guy. Yes, I was one of the ISS Pro Evo guys. And I just figured that back then, this game was better than FIFA in every single way. Alright, not every single way. It didn't have all the official names and blah blah blah. And yeah, I think you could buy a memory card back then where it would like update all the names or something like that. But let's be fair, who could be asked to do that? Not me, that was for one. But gameplay wise, and just the goals, the ease, how you got into the game, how easy it was to just pick up and play. For me, it had to be Konami won hands down, and it was International Superstar Soccer. ISS Pro was winner hands down. And then we move on to probably what was quite a... It had a lot of bad press. You're probably going to guess what it is already. The guys that made this game, I think, are originally from Dundee. But all of the games, apart from one that I know of on the PS1, were all set in America. The other one was set in London. I'm not sure if that's on here. It is. So the 3 that were released for the PlayStation 1 are all, luckily for me, on this Grand Theft Auto Collector's Edition. Now, I only picked this up maybe about a year ago. I think it was on Marketplace. And I think I paid 15 quid for it. So, I'm going to be brutally honest here. I probably won't play any of these Grand Theft Autos simply because I feel it's aged absolutely horrifically. Playing Grand Theft Auto from the above view, it just doesn't cut it anymore. It really doesn't. I did enjoy them at the time. In fact, I adored them at the time. But when we went to the PlayStation 2 and we had Grand Theft Auto 3, which was obviously in 3D, that was just a game changer. It really was. And I think Grand Theft Auto, the whole series, really took off from then. I'm not sure how well the original Grand Theft Auto was done on the original PS1, but it was a game that I went and I bought all of them. The only one I didn't play was actually the London one. It just, I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. It didn't. But this next game did, because this game is based on 3 films, and it's probably my favourite film of all time. And yeah, if you know me, you already know what this game is. It is Alien Trilogy. Now, this game isn't about Alien, it isn't about Aliens or Alien 3. It has parts of each film in the game, like kind of like spread throughout. There is bits where obviously you're on LV-426, you know, and you go around the station, etc. But the main thing is, you've got a pulse rifle, you've got a shotgun, you've got a mute gun, and you're just shooting tons and tons of xenomorphs. Yeah, really good game, really dark. The music is excellent, really like gets you in the mood for the game. Definitely play it in the dark because it is quite a dark game. And if you want to know the cheat, and I do remember this from back in the day, it's I've got pink 8-sid boots on, or I've got pink acid boots on, but I think it's like for the eyes you've got to put a 1 in, and for the 8s you've got to put an 8 in, and so on and so forth. But once you put that in, you get a level select, you get maximum weapons and invincibility, so you can literally just run around pumping, well, maybe not pumping, I don't know if that's the right word, shooting, I don't know if that's any better, killing, yeah, you can go around killing as many facehuggers, xenomorphs, the queen, there's all sorts of stuff in there. Really good game, and one I think that's aged pretty well, personally. I played it not so long back on the old PS1, and yeah, still really playable. Last but not least for this episode is it's another sports game. It's another sport that I fell out of love with actually, but until recently I've just kind of managed to maybe get back into it a bit more. On the PlayStation, I think we're pretty spoiled for choice with this genre or with this particular sport, but when you played the career mode, I like this one the best. And I did originally have Victory Boxing, the original, but I haven't got that anymore. But I do have Victory Boxing 2. And Victory Boxing 2, just, yeah, I mean, the career mode was awesome. You used to always have like a rival that you'd like come across, and you were like battling against them so you would become world champion first. You'd always end up fighting them, like, you know, towards the end or for the title belt, and they were always absolutely rock solid. Like, I remember with this game, like me thumbs, like these muscles down here, you know, like they'd be aching, man. Like my fingers would be hurting from, like, you know, hammering the buttons. But not only that, you did have to be quite tactful. A little bit like boxing, you know, like the tactics come across really well, where you could like guard for so long or recuperate more energy, maybe go for like a bigger hit rather than you know, if you were more like hiding behind your jab. And check me out doing all the moves. But yeah, Victory Boxing 2, my recommendation for you if you want a boxing game for your PS1, Victory Boxing 2. That is the route I went down, and I wasn't disappointed. So guys, yeah, I hope you remembered who I am. Hope you remember me face. This is what I sound like again. It's been great to get in front of the camera, to show off some games, and to speak to you guys. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. There's going to be a few more of these coming. In the time being, obviously the top 10s and stuff like that will just continue. But I just want to put this out as maybe just a bit extra content to just to get back to what I used to do originally. Anyway, until next time, goodbye.